Okay, so let's keep going. We'll dig into a little bit of some of the financials for Tesla. These next few slides are going to be for the years 2010, 11, 12, and 13. So we can see here in these 4 years what the gross profit is. 2010, the gross profit for Tesla is $30,731,000. And in 2013, we have a gross profit of $456,262,000. Flip side, for those 4 years, we have a net loss every year. 2010, we have a net loss of $154,328,000, and 2013, a net loss of $74,014,000. So this slide is kind of a comparison of the gross profit for each of those 4 years and the research and development expense for those 4 years. So as you can see in 2010, with what the gross profit was, we're spending 302% more for research and development in comparison to what we made for a gross profit. 2012 was a pretty big year for research and development expense. We spent a total of 911% more than our gross profit. Went back to about 54.8% in 2013. So in 2013, for each of those quarters, and also for the first quarter of 2014, we can see here what the gross profit is. 2013 first quarter, of $96,320,000. First quarter of 2014, $155,128,000. Flip side again, we have net losses for every quarter. First quarter of 2013, a loss of $11,248,000. In first quarter of 2014, a net loss of $49,800,000. Do the same comparison of what our gross profit is versus what we're spending on research and development. Has maintained around mid-50% of what we spend in research development in comparison to our gross profit. So I have here some of our big expenses, our main expenses in those quarters: selling and administrative expenses, research and development, and then various other expenses. So we have this for the first quarter of 13, the second quarter of 13, fourth quarter of 13, and then the first quarter of 2014. So let's talk about our SWOT analysis for Tesla. We have a lot of strengths. We have a unique brand, a unique position in the market. We have a strong brand in that market. There's a high control of vehicle production, and as stated earlier, those cars are able to be charged with a 110 volt, 240 volt, and a J1772 public charger. There has been a rapid increase in product sales, and cost reduction in battery packs will be assisted with the new Gigafactory. Some of the weaknesses that I found with Tesla is they do have a limited market presence and a limited supply chain. They do have high prices for their vehicles, and as we kind of talked about before, they're burning through cash. Most of it is going for research and development, with more than $900 million spent for R&D. This has created a pretty high debt load. Elon Musk, as I said before, is splitting his time between his two companies. He is at SpaceX on Mondays and Thursdays, at Tesla on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and on Fridays he splits his time between those two companies. Some opportunities Tesla has. They can have an increase in their global sales expansion and global supply chain expansion. There's a lot of business diversification possibilities. They do have the company-owned retail stores and service centers. They have also implemented a buyback option, which also helps with the sales of used Tesla vehicles, and they're able to kind of control the prices on those used vehicles. They have recent partnerships with Panasonic and Daimler. They could also sell technology to other automotive companies. So some threats that Tesla faces. They do have some pretty aggressive competition with car manufacturers in the hybrid market and the electric market. There are several dealership regulations. Foremost, as there is legislature forbidding or severely restricting the ability of automakers to sell vehicles directly to the public. That legislation is passed in 48 states. There will be a time where the tax credits are no longer available. As of right now, they get a $7,500 federal tax credit, and there are also certain states that give a state credit to consumers that purchase electric vehicles. The majority of the population, they're not willing to switch to non-gasoline powered vehicles. In 2013, less than 1% of global sales were plug-in electric vehicles. 15.6 million cars were sold that year, and only 95,842 were plug-in electric vehicles. That's 0.6% of the total vehicles sold. And of that 95,842,000 plug-in electric cars sold, 17,650 were Tesla vehicles, which is an 18% of that market share. But overall, Tesla has a market share of around 0.1% of all cars that were sold in 2013. There's also a negative public perception of the vehicle safety in the Tesla vehicles, primarily due to some fires that have happened with the Tesla vehicles. In 2013, there were 3 fires after high-speed collisions, and there was 1 fire in 2013 due to a faulty wall socket. After those occurrences, Elon Musk made a statement which I believe was a very accurate, very positive statement, informing and educating the consumers, stating that in 2013 there were over 250,000 gasoline fires, resulting in over 400 deaths and approximately 1,200 serious injuries. Now you compare that 250,000 gasoline fires with 4 fires from a Tesla vehicle, and it really puts things in perspective. But in response to public perception, he implemented 3 changes. First one was he rolled out an over-the-air update to the air suspension that would result in greater ground clearance at highway speeds. Secondly, he requested that the NHTSA conduct a full investigation, and if anything was discovered that would result in material improvement in occupant fire safety, he would immediately apply those changes to any new cars and retrofit any existing cars for free. And third, to reinforce how strongly the company believes the low risk of fire in the vehicles, they were amending their warranty policy to cover damage due to fire, even if the fire was due to driver error. So after digging into your company a little bit more, I do have some recommendations that would be great if you could implement. As I stated before, Elon Musk splits his time between his two companies. I believe he needs to spend most of his time at Tesla. I think this would help public perception and increase shareholder confidence in the company. Now, while the company owned and operated retail stores and service centers do bring in that extra 10% of profit. With that, you guys are having to increase your expenses with benefits to employees, insurance, liability insurance, business insurance, unemployment compensation, unemployment insurance, wages. I think at this point, with there being such a net loss consistently, we need to try to find ways to reduce those expenses until the company can consistently maintain a profit. Definitely need to improve the international presence in Tesla and reduce the cost of the battery pack to increase their profit margin. This is the gigafactory that has begun manufacturing the battery pack that will assist with this, as I stated earlier, the 30% decrease of the price of the battery pack. And also need to seek out suppliers that can supply multiple components. At this point, Tesla has a few suppliers that they have very good relations with, but a majority of their components are coming from single suppliers. So if we can find suppliers that can supply multiple components, that will assist with some of those expenses as well. I want to thank you very much for letting me come and visit with you today, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.